into this session. So we are having Tam, and she's from Singapore. Her company name is Goods Online. So basically, they are speaking like GOL in a short form, and they are having a 22 years of experience into this industry, and she's running her family business, and she's basically from Vietnam country, but right now settled in Singapore. And her father has started this business, and since last 22 years they are into the export import business or the shipping logistics, right? In a world's total market, they are having a good amount of experience, and that is what we are having today, is amazing opportunity that she is going to share her experience, her family generation business, how she has been into this business, and how she has got the experience. And she's good into all the compliances, and I will share her details also, LinkedIn page also, with all of you guys, that you can directly connect with her. And if you will see the content on her LinkedIn page also, she is giving a tremendous amount of knowledge on her LinkedIn videos, and post and everything. And I would say she is very much active basically on the LinkedIn. Most of the time she is available on LinkedIn, so whenever you will do the message, she's going to be always reply you back also. So just recently we have been connected, and I really thank you very much, Tam, for being so generous with me, being so cooperative, that you have allocated the time, and everything has been scheduled very fast. So I really appreciate your presence. I really appreciate your efforts to give the knowledge to the people, right, who are entering into the businesses. And accordingly, if they will be having the right knowledge, they will be able to make a good amount of right business as well. So that is why, and these all the people are also, these all are people are who are right now into the meeting. They are trying to get enter into the business. They are new beginners. So accordingly, I will request you to give them those kind of the knowledge, where they can grab the opportunity, they can identify the market, they can identify the products. So what would be the product strategies, what would be the market strategies, how the USA market is actually works, what are the entry points, right? Accordingly, you are expertise into that, so I don't have to tell you much more about that. But yes, definitely we are very much eager, we are very much excited to have you, and we are very much excited to listen you to on the given topics. So not taking much more time, I will request, and I will request everyone to give a very good applause for the Tam. We are welcoming you, Tam. Thank you very much. And the stage is yours. Now you can start your mic, and definitely you can address the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Viral, for giving me the opportunities to share my knowledge with the community. Today I have a sore throat, so please excuse me if if I had needed to get some drink. But yes, I'm very excited to share with you about the U.S. market. This is something that my family business, yes, we started in like 22 years ago in the logistics space, actually 30 years ago. But this the GOL side, where we help specifically with trade compliance and helping business to go to new market, it has been 22 years. So yeah, let me just put on the slides, and then I can share more with you everything I know or I have learned so far about US market.
Sure.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it is perfectly visible.
All right, great. Thank you. Okay, thank you everyone for spending your Thursday afternoon with me. My name is Tam Nguyen. I'm from Vietnam. I'm currently based in Singapore because I'm currently heading my family business expansion into the like Asia regional markets. And what we do at GOL, Goods Online Solutions, is we help companies that are looking for ways to export to the US market or South Asia to understand what it needs to take from making your product to selling your product overseas. As you know, if you sell in your local market, right, it's quite straightforward when you make a product and you can easily sell it to your friends, family, or put it in a store, and it's very straightforward that way. But when it comes to overseas and exporting, going from making it to selling it actually needs a lot more mini steps to get there, like understanding the market demands, understanding what are the licensing, the paperwork you need to just bring product out and into that country, and also understand the strategies. So at G.O.L, that's what we focus on, to help companies filling and getting those mini steps correctly. We have helped over 500 companies around the region, from Singapore, Vietnam, Korea, etc., going to the US. And hopefully after this session, we can help more Indian company going to the US as well. So today, what I'm going to share with you is going to be about the market overview, what are the opportunities, or what are the statistic data about the US and why it's something you should consider in your strategy. What are the top categories from India to the US? Products that are considered low or high barriers product when it comes to importing to the US. That means that, like how much investment you need to put up front in terms of making the products, in terms of licensing, in terms of finding customers. These are considered the barriers. Also, I'm going to cover about online opportunities. What are the opportunities out there? Because it's really important that we cannot ignore e-commerce anymore, especially when US is where, Amazon is where the biggest e-commerce platform is from, right? So there are a lot of opportunities there, but there are also other opportunities outside of Amazon. So we'll talk about that. And then last but not least, we'll talk about if the US is the right one for you, because the biggest market is definitely like appealing, but it's also need to fit into your business perspective or business goal. So what are the factors that we should consider when it comes to deciding if we should invest in the US or any other markets? And last but not least, what are the strategy in terms of finding clients, selling, delivering? So hopefully I will able to cover all these information for you within an hour. Before we start, I would like just to get to know who's here today. Please type 1 in the chat box if you already have a product and you're looking for, selling, you're ready to sell. Please type 1 into the chat box. I would love to know who's here today. And if you are searching for products, you are still deciding which product you're gonna sell, you're not sure yet, you haven't export yet, please type 2 in the chat box as well. I don't know why I can't see it. Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, now let's get into the details why US market is the one for you, right? We'll have a little bit of overview. Right now, as you can see, the United States is the biggest market of the world, but what's more important, it is the biggest import market. That means that they are buying products from all over the world into the United States. The second one, as you can see, very close by is China. And this is why we see all the, like the trade war and all the tariffs happening. It's because China is really close by, and that's what US is trying to stop. And then we have Germany and Netherlands. So when it comes to exporting, one of the factors you should consider when we look into market is that if the country is importing a lot, that means that they would have, quite established delivery logistics system. They have established framework on what needs to be done to import, and as well as the clarity for companies that want to go in and do business in their market. These are some of the top US imports, and this is the categories and products that are importing, that the US importing from all over the world. So we have capital goods. That means a lot of them, the majority of them are computer, laptop, mobile phone. Those are considered as capital goods at 545 billion. We have consumer goods, which are houseware, kitchenware, fashion apparels, cosmetics. Those products are considered consumer goods. We have industrial supplies right at the top. And then number 3, which is like machineries, part of the machineries. This is to help with their, their own manufacturing site in the US. The 4th one is automotive vehicles, or even automotive vehicle parts. So especially now with the rise of EV, electronics vehicles, this is very hot, and a lot of people are importing into the US. Last but not least, on the top 5, we have food, feeds, and beverage. So this means food and drink for human, but also for farm animal like chicken, cow, etc. Excuse me. And what are the top products from India? You may ask. So these are some of the products that are currently being exported a lot from India to the US. But in orders, there are also other like petroleum, engineering goods, and chemical products, but I remove it from the ranking because like I think these are more relevant to you. So some of the products that are very popular from India is gem and jewelry, electrical goods, textile and garment, pharmaceuticals, and agriculturals. So, these are the products that are popular from India, just like jewelry, apparel, fashions products, and agriculture. You can see it as like herbs, food products, basically. Now, let's talk about low barrier products. Low barrier products are products that I consider as something easy to sell and easy to get it in the country. That means that you usually don't have a restrictions in terms of the quality that you must meet. You don't need to get like very expensive licensing just to get in, and also it's quite popular and easy to find buyers that would like to purchase these products. So here are some of the example on the screen. You can see these are considered low barrier products. Clothing and fashions, homewares, jewelry is easy also, with paper related products, purse related products, plastic products, etc. These are considered low barrier products that's easy to move, especially going to the US. Now, the downside of low barrier products means that anybody can also sell. So that means that if you are having these kind of products, you can potentially also competing not just from India, but you also remember that the rest of the world, other suppliers, other countries that are already making these products also trying to get into the US. So high barrier products, on the opposite of low barriers, they requires a bit more resource to get in. They are restricted, or they are regulated closely on like what can be going to the market. You need like pre-market approval to getting in. So here are some of the example of products I consider high barriers. First one is toys. The reason why toys is considered high barrier products because you need to consider the safety factors of the products. One thing is the painting, the coat of the painting coat on the products. So if your toys, it's for small children that usually they play with their hands, they might touch into their mouth. The US all really restricted in terms of what kind of painting you can use on these toys. So it's very important to make sure that your paint is in high quality, they do not contain lead or any toxic chemicals within the products. Products that have choking hazard also restricted in US market. For example, things that too small, or a food product with a mini toy go together are considered as choking hazard. So a good example is Kindle eggs. So these product is like a chocolate egg, and inside, once the kid eat it, you will have a mini toy. So in the US, if you buy the US version, you'll see that the toy is not within the egg. It's just packed together. The reason for that is because it represents a choking hazard, and the U.S. FDA, the U.S. FDA do not allow you to put the toy within the food. For food, not all food are considered high barrier products. But here are some of the example of kind of food that I consider a bit more challenging to go in. For example, alcohol. The reason alcohol is challenging is because not only you need to get the federal state license, which is US FDA, but you also need to get the state level license for each of the state that you are going to sell to. So that means that if you sell into California state, you will need US FDA license for alcohol plus California state license, and so on. If you continue to distribute to other state, different state will have different requirements on the alcohol standards, what you can advertise, etc. And you will have to get individual license for each state. Poultry or meat, these products are restricted in US. That means that only about like 10 or 15 countries around the world can import these kind of product into the US. So if your company is having the products related with poultry or meat, then that you will need to check if the US FDA allowed those. But from my research, I don't think India is one of the approved country that can export these products into the US. Seafood is different. Seafood is fine. So this is just talking about red meat, like poultry or beef, etc. Last, in the food, products that are a bit more challenging, not impossible, but more tricky to go in, is supplements. Now, because we help companies with their US FDA registration and compliant, one mistake that we've seen a lot of supplements company have is that they would have advertisement targeting a certain type of user. And this is a restriction in the US where for supplements product, you cannot advertise targeting a certain type of user. It should only something that help contribute to your overall health. For example, fiber supplements, right? Fiber supplements, if you cannot advertise it as this is for people with constipation, cannot advertise that this are for people with hemorrhoid, like a disease. You cannot target those things, but you can say that, oh, this product is good for the digestive health. It helps you go regularly, help you with bowel regularity. Those are the, many things that you need to consider when it comes to supplements. And it's really important to get the label correctly for supplements, because we've seen companies, didn't get it right in the beginning. They shipped the first shipment, and then the custom reject their shipment into the US. So they end up have to destroy their entire cargo because they didn't have the label and the advertisement correctly. So, to avoid these mistakes, which can be costly, definitely prepare yourself in terms of the paperwork right. Other products that are a bit more challenging as well are medical devices or drugs, pharmaceutical products like OTC drug, which is over the counters, or regular drugs. These two items are regulated by the US FDA and do require a minimum investment per year to maintain the license. So for medical device, I believe next year's, the price is going to be around $10,000 to maintain the import license for the US. For drugs, it's about $50K, so $50,000. So quite pricey to get in. The last type of products that will also high barriers are chemical products. Think of disinfectant, antibacterial wipes, antibacterial spray. Those products are considered chemicals. These products are regulated by the EPA, US EPA, and for you to pass all the safety check and standard that they have, you will need to spend about 6 to 9 months to get all the paperwork ready. For high barrier products like these, I would consider these products if you are already an experienced as an exporter. You have like some international manufacturing standard like GMP, HACCP, ISO, those kind of standards, before considering invest into the US. But the upside for these products is that there will be less competitions comparing to, of course, the low barrier products. Now, something that I'm very excited to share, which is the online opportunities. If you're talking about the US, we cannot ignore online opportunities. This is one of the biggest e-commerce market in the world. And by 2029, the US e-commerce market is expected to reach a record high of 335.5 million users. That means almost 65 to 69, 90 to 95% coverage of their entire population is on the internet, is buying products on e-commerce. Another exciting data about e-commerce in the US is that the project average revenue per user in 2024 right now is about $4,470. That's higher than a lot of countries' minimal household income. So this is a great opportunity if we can tap into the market. Now, when it comes to e-commerce or online, one of the easiest way for you to start selling to the US consumers is going onto e-commerce platform. So these are some of the example of some of the biggest e-commerce platform in the US, and we should understand the consumer behaviors when do they go to these platforms, because each of these platforms serve a different purpose and people go to them depends on what they need. So we have Amazon, which is the biggest e-commerce platform in the US and actually around the world at this point. They have the full service from helping you selling the products to actually helping you deliver the products. Their service is called FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, where you can ship your cargo to an Amazon warehouse, and then they will distribute it to all their warehouse around the US, and then deliver it whenever there's an orders. So with Amazon, once you're able to crack Amazon in terms of selling and how to list on Amazon, then you can also easily expand into countries that Amazon existing, like Amazon Canada, Amazon Mexico, Amazon UK, Japan, etc. So getting on Amazon is something that that a lot of business, especially if you are small and medium business and you have limited resource to find a big retailer and wholesalers in US, and you don't have the capacity to manufacture the amount that big retailers require yet, Amazon is the second great channel for you to consider. Shopify is another great platform. And Shopify, unlike Amazon, which is, you can search on, you need something, and then they will list out like hundreds of sellers that are offering the same products for you to choose. Shopify is a platform that help you host your own website, your own e-commerce website. So you're not competing with anyone, but just optimizing like all the offerings on your website. And they will offer also, I think there's a fulfillment service from Shopify now. They will offer you a payment gateway so that you can, get money from the buyers. And you can combine Shopify with advertising tools such as Facebook, Instagrams, Google, YouTube, and basically link this to Shopify front landing page as your sales channel. Etsy is where people go for DIY products. do-it-yourself products, handicraft products, arts products, things that people want to decorate, arts, and even digital products that doesn't have as physical products yet. Etsy is where people go to find these kind of products. So and even jewelry, like handmade jewelries, certain jewelry also going to Etsy, or leather products, things that are handicraft, handmade. People love it on Etsy. And the last one is eBay. Now, eBay, maybe a lot of you already know, eBay before Amazon became the first one, eBay was the #1 platform in the US. And eBay, people go there to find collectibles, right? Things that they have a kind of like a cultural sense. They want to buy something like a good sneaker, something that they want to collect for their joy, sneaker, figures, things a bit more pricey or like rare. People would sell, there will be sellers that posting these kind of products on eBay, even for like secondhand products or bigger household products like appliance, etc. People go to eBay for these kind of products. Now, all these marketplaces are amazing and depends on what your product is. It could be a right place for you to go there. But from my perspective and from working with a lot of companies from around the world going to the US, these marketplaces, because they are one of the tops one, they are definitely a bit crowded in terms of sellers, right? So if you want to go to Amazon, if you want to go to Etsy, you definitely need to spend there will be a learning curve to list and then able to get sell. It's not as easy as just post it and then you would get sell immediately, because there are a lot of sellers up there. So I would urge you to also consider these smaller e-commerce platforms that are available in US, which there are two that are very worthy to notice. Number one is Walmart. Does anybody know Walmart here? Can you type W into the chat? Great. So everybody know Walmart, right? So Walmart, if you haven't known it yet, it is the biggest retailer in the world. That's how big they are, and they are #1 as there's a recent brand like strength around the world where like how many people recognize Walmart, how many people recognize the brand around the world. Walmart is #1. So they are a big retailer in US, and I think that most of us as like manufacturers, sellers, I think the ultimate dream is able to get into Walmart, right? This like the ultimate like achievement milestone that we can get for our business. And once you get in Walmart, it's also like it's settled, right? Like you are good for a long time, because they order in such a big quantity that sometimes all you need is to work and fulfill Walmart's order. Now, the thing about Walmart retails is that it's quite challenging to get in. Now, one is because they require such a big numbers of orders of items every single time. If you're just starting and you just starting products, and a lot of companies cannot fulfill that capacity. So that's one. Number two is that they also, very demanding in terms of pricing. Walmart is known for, aggressive pricing, right? So that means that if you sell to Walmart, your margin could be quite small. And number three is that to get to Walmart, right, you may have to reach out and know them, talk to them, and the sales cycle could be 6 months, a year, to even like a few years just to get into Walmart. But there is good news. Walmart recently launched their Walmart Marketplace, where you don't need to be in Walmart retails to list your products on Walmart Marketplace. And this is great because that means that you can tag on into the volumes and credibility of Walmart to start selling to the US. And number two, if your product performs well, I'm sure that the Walmart procurement team are looking into the data. to see which products are selling fast on the marketplace, and we'll rope you in and sign you a deal into Walmart retails. So Walmart is growing quite fast in US at the moment. So it's definitely something to consider if you're looking into enter the market through marketplace players. Now, the second player that I want you to pay attention to is TikTok. I think TikTok is banned in India, right? Right. Okay. So unfortunately, that's happened in India, but for the rest of the world, so where I'm from, South Asia, right? TikTok is now number 2 of the TikTok Shop is now number 2 e-commerce platform in South Asia, and they probably gonna beat Shopee very, very soon. In the US, they launched last year, and they're already the 9th biggest US marketplace at the moment. What's different about TikTok is that because they combine the factor of social medias and a marketplace, they are bringing marketing costs down to the fraction. Now, I have 2 videos that I made about TikTok Shop that I would like to share to you to explain exactly what does it mean. How does TikTok is bringing down your marketing investment down? How many the American platform versus the China? Can you hear the audio from my all right, great, thank you. For TikTok, their goal is to get new sales because they got commission from that. Content creators, they can have 0 followers, they can still get views on TikTok, but they're trying to get the sales in. They industrialize this affiliate marketing thing. For American platform, it's like, oh, you have to reach to an influencer, you need to build your brand name before you able to sell. Right? You need to build an audience. The Top Shop, we have a volume game where you get like 20 content creators who's making 5 videos a day for your products. Yeah, as long as your commission rate is good, then they okay. All right. So let me recap a little bit on what happened in that video. So for TikTok, because their incentive is the incentive and revenue is coming from commissions, platform commission from whenever you make sales. That means that they have the incentive to push your videos as to many people as possible. Comparing to Meta, Instagram, Facebook, Google, their revenue is coming from advertisement. So what they do is that they will limit your free view so that you have to pay for ads so that you can reach more people. So that is the 2 difference of the algorithm of how TikTok differs from, like all the other big social media. Number 2 is that because of the way the algorithm on TikTok is created, which you don't need to engage with big influencer with millions of followers to getting sales. You can engage with influencer that have 100 followers, 1,000, 5,000, whatever, and you can still have an equivalent impact as getting someone's have 1 million followers on Instagram. The reason is because when you distribute a video onto TikTok, TikTok will distribute that video to a bucket of user for 1,000 user. And then if those 1,000 user, they watch past 3 seconds of your video, then it will get distributed to the next bucket of user, let's say 5,000. And those 5,000, if they watch, they pass the 3-second rule, they move on. And that's why people say that TikTok is so easy to go viral. It's because this algorithm is designed differently compared to all the other social media. Now, if you want to look into TikTok, then so right now, as I was looking into the data of like the best-selling TikTok products and brands, one thing I noticed is that a lot of the brands are not available in other retail store, in other marketplace, but they still bringing in millions of revenue, and that's important. It's because that's an opportunity for you. That means that the big players is not coming in yet. That means there's opportunities for us to get that market share first before people coming in. So the second video I'm gonna share is how to earn, if you want to earn 1 million TikTok revenue on TikTok, then what do you need to do? How many content creators do you need to earn 1 million revenue on TikTok Shop? content creators you need to engage to earn more than $1 million a month on TikTok Shop. I analyzed the top 200 selling products on TikTok US to answer this for you. On this graph, the longer the bar means that more products are getting this amount of influencer per month. 10 to 200, 201 to 400, and more than 1,000 influencers a month are the most popular category. So let's compare the one on this range. As you can see here, the ones who are engaging 1,000 plus influencers are earning double the amounts of the other range. In the previous videos, I've told you that every 2 videos that you engage from influencer, you will able to generate sales. So that means that you don't need to engage with really big TikToks influencer, but you can engage to smaller ones that can consistently create and engage with your brands every single month. That means 2 things. You need a commission rate that's attractive enough so that content creators will engage with you actively without you reaching out. Number 2, you need to find a way to automate how you engage and approach these content creators. I've seen people engaging in influencer bots, live streaming farms, and many others tactics to get this system automatic. If you're interested in hearing more. All right, so that's what it takes for you to earn $1 million on TikTok Shop. 1,000 content creators a month. All right, that's the number. Now I'm not gonna talk too much on like how to get there, but this is something interesting for you to see. And because TikTok is growing really fast right now, and I know there's news about like US gonna ban TikTok, etc. We don't know for sure, but my prediction is that that's not gonna happen because right now, not only they allow you to list their own products on TikTok, but they also allow you to link all the other links, Walmart, Amazon, Shopify, eBay, onto your TikTok videos. So even if they don't allow you to do TikTok Shop or you cannot list the product directly on TikTok Shop, TikTok has been working so that you can link back to all these other marketplace and platform that you use. So if you don't treat TikTok Shop as one of the channels, it's still a good marketing tool for you to drive traffic into all the other marketplace that if you want to go to. Now, next part of the online opportunity, and this is exciting for you if you are trying to figure out how do I find buyers in US? Because of the landscape of e-commerce and how fast it's moved, the US consumer are now used to with buying products online. Also because like in the US, most places are quite distant from each other. The closest grocery you would have would probably about 20 to 30 minutes drive away. So getting things delivery has now become a norm for US consumers. And that means that if you can manage to deliver your products from India to the US, to a US consumer directly, you can skip all the barriers of finding a wholesaler or distributors. This is for the past few years, there's a rise of direct-to-consumer brands and content creator products. So we'll talk about direct-to-consumer brand first. Direct-to-consumer brands are brands that going directly to consumer. That's straightforward, right? They are using online channels to getting to consumer and selling those products directly to the consumer. They may decide deliberately to not engage with retailers because they want to keep the cost down so that they can sell good products to the consumer while keeping it reasonable for the buyers. So some of the example of D2C brands that are rising in the US could vary from jewelries, here to like houseware, homeware, cookware, or to supplements products, right? So Caraway is a D2C brand that is selling non-toxic, non-stick aesthetic cookware directly to consumer. And their product is definitely not making in the US, right? So they are shipping their product probably from China, or from somewhere else directly to the consumer. The second brand that I would like to share is there's a supplement brand called Bloom. They went viral on social media. They start selling their products, and they recently raised $2 million to expand their brand more into, retailer, etc. Another opportunity on online is content creator products. There's a rise of content creators or influencers that are starting to monetize their audience by creating specific products. Does anybody know Mr. Beast? If you know Mr. Beast, please comment MR into the chat. Great. So, and Mr. Beast is, thank you so much. Mr. Beast is the #1 YouTuber right now with 100 million followers on YouTube. And he's known for, very, giving away a lot of money to people. And that's what he's made famous for. But so for Mr. Beast, where did he get the money to give away, right? From the nation, of course. But one other way that his do is that to release products that are catered to his audience. So this products here, feastable snack, and recently they also create a product to compete with Lunchable, which is like a kids lunch meal in the US, to target to Mr. Beast's audience. And not only here selling in the US, I saw a vending machine selling this product in Singapore, just like a week ago. So content creators are now trying to monetize their audience by physical products like this. And what that means for you is that these people are your potential clients, right? Because they're good with marketing. They're good with reaching people. They're good with capturing people attentions, but most likely they don't have products. They don't know how to produce it. They don't know how to manufacturing. And they will want to find a good, trusted supplier to create the products under their name. So this is another potential client that you can focus and you can look for beyond the traditional distributors, wholesalers, retailers. Well, I hope that sharing has, sparked some ideas or, excite you of what are the opportunities there in the US for you to explore. One thing I'm really excited whenever I talk to or sharing this session is that because we're from Vietnam, we work with, exporters like for a long time. We understand how challenging it is to have limited resource and trying to go overseas, right? It's hard, it's challenging, but you want to do it because there's some dream, you have a certain dream that you want to achieve to this business. So what we always urge you or clients is that if you want to consider the US market as the right one or any other market in the world as the right one, I would urge you to consider these 4 factors. Number 1, is this a growing market, right? Is your product category is something growing? If you are selling something related to kids, like kid snack or like baby products, but the market that you target is having a aging population, right? Then that doesn't make sense to sell and target your product, even though that market is considered, one of the biggest in the world. Number 2, a familiar culture. The US, as we've been talking as a whole, is a big market. But one thing you have to consider when it comes to the US is that there are many subculture, like ethnicities, people around in the US. It's a melting pot of culture, and people from all over the world go to the US. So if you're targeting to the US, can you target Indian American first? Right? Are you familiar with Indian American culture? Can you target those population first before going to the mass population? Another good news actually is that Indian American is one of the highest income household in the US. So if you actually try to target Indian American, it's definitely a lot of room to grow in that space. The third factor is distribution channels. What kind of distribution channels do you prefer? Are you familiar with? Are you familiar with B2B? Are you familiar with B2C? Are you familiar with online? What distribution channels that you are, that you have mastered within your market or within other markets? When you consider a new market, always see if they have the existing like channels that you would want to replicate that. If you are familiar with marketplaces, e-commerce, online strategy, and then you try to go to a country that doesn't use internet a lot, like not like half of the population don't really use the internet, then it your effort will be not as effective as going to a country that has, a lot of people using internet. And last but not least, cost structure. As I mentioned, there are high barriers products and low barriers product, and it's all come down to cost, right? Like what are the costs that you need to, what are the investment you need in time and money to get the standard that they need to get to import? What are the safety standard? What are the licensing that you need? And one other thing is that, are there any tax benefit for you to go there, right? So is there any food trade agreement between India and the US that you can tap on so that you can enjoy a lower tax rate comparing to other countries, other suppliers? One thing I want to highlight for the US is that if you go through the online distribution channels, then you can enjoy tax-free importations if your shipment value is below $800. So that means if a person in the US order your products and it's below $800, which typically an average order in US about like $30 to $40. That means that if you import it into US, then you will be eligible for tax-free. Not a lot of people know this, but this is something that the Chinese sellers has been mastered for a long, long time. And that's why now we've seen like a lot of things about like tariffs, etc. Um, it's because they have leveraged this benefit like a lot. Right. So I want to share this so that, if you are looking into the cost structure, think of that. What are the tax? What are the costs out there? Okay. Now let's talk strategy. If you consider yourself as someone more comfortable with B2B and wholesales, my one tip for you is network, right? You need to network as much as possible, get in front of the potential buyers, distributors, and people that would partner with you. One good way to do is that going to trade shows where your potential buyers will be there. So US would have a lot of trade show throughout the years. Any other country would have trade show for foreign brands that want to go into the market to participate, and then the local distributor, the local wholesalers will come and see you. This is a video of me going to a trade show in Bangkok. So as you can see here, like the traffic is a lot. Within 2-3 days, you will usually have like 100 to 1,000 people, walking past. And usually you would, if your product is high demand, you can probably get like 300, 400, 500 people interested in contact leads that would love to engage with you. Now the sales cycle for B2B, if we can summarize it, is usually this 3-step. Number one, you will find buyers. So earlier I showed you one way, which is offline. You got to go to the place, you got to go to the trade show, you got to go to US and find those that on the ground. Number two, I've also seen people that using email marketing. LinkedIn is also a very big network in the US. So there's people that reaching out through these online channel and also getting buyers from there. So those are the two ways that you can use to find potential buyers. And with LinkedIn, right, it's really you can navigate and find exact people who are buyers, who are within the purchasing department of all the retailer and wholesalers. So LinkedIn also a good channel for you to find these potential buyers. Now, the process to go from finding them and shipping the product usually happen like this. You find the buyers, you build the relationship, and then once they interest in the product, they will ask you to send a sample. If you're at the trade show, usually you will give out sample at the time already, so that's already done. But if you go into online channel like LinkedIn, all those other channels, then they will require you to send samples. So you will send the samples to them, and then once everything is good in orders in terms of paperwork, the product quality, then they will start ordering your products in bulk. And that's usually the whole sales cycle for B2B. One thing to note about B2B is that the sales cycle usually takes about 6 months to a year minimum to get this cycle complete. So if you're going to do this strat or this strategy, you need to consider, do you have enough runway to last 6 to 1 year without sales? Are there any other channels within your local or the different revenue channel that you can depend on while getting these sales in? With B2B, it's just everything is going down to relationship, right? How well you connect and network with these entities and people who work there. The second strategy is B2C. As I mentioned, because online brand e-commerce is such a popular and growing sector in US. So my question to you is that can your product can skip all the retailer and wholesaler and go directly to consumer? Is your products fit for marketplaces like the one I share? Is your product something that is marketable on online, TikTok, Instagram, Meta or not? If your products fit all these categories, you might want to consider having your own brand. This is a great asset because number one, you not only you will able to sell to consumer, but you will also get visibility to potential buyers who are purchasing it. A lot of the Amazon sellers, a lot of the e-commerce platform sellers, and recently I went to an Amazon event where the sellers are mostly at the 5 millions, 10 millions revenue per year. And what they share is that not only they making money from selling directly to consumer, but they also get B2B buyers who are interested in the products, purchase directly from Amazon, and then become a B2B client for them. So direct to consumer is a new way to export and something you might want to consider. White labeling or drop shipping is how you can reach these potential entrepreneurs that want to build their brands. Now, these entrepreneurs, they are influencers, they are content creators, they are someone in a different space, but they see a need within the US consumer. They know the US consumer very well. They know the insight, but they are lack of, how to make a product. They don't know how to manufacture a product. So can you offer white label service to these people? Can you offer drop shipping service, which means that you will reduce your minimum order quantity? Instead of 500 t-shirts per order, can you do it for 5? Can you do it for 10 t-shirts? Because these people, usually when they find you, they are just starting up. But if we can capture them in the beginning, that means that as their business grow, you will enjoy that in the long run. So like this is an example of a lady here. She was a full-time mom and she decided to start her own kid snacks in the US. And for sure, this product is not made from the US, right? So that means that she has to go through the entire process of finding someone outside of the US, making a product, shipping it over, and start selling. Can you partner with the people like this so that you can focus in making the products and service them, and then they'll handle the consumer, the marketing in the US. Here's the summaries of how it looks like when you do the B2C strategy. All you need to do is set up your website, right? List all the products that you have, and then allow people to order. It usually, as a manufacturer or people that make bulk products, we like to sell it in bulk. But what is the minimum order that you're willing to offer to these people? And mind you, if you let them buying a small amount, that means you can charge higher. So that doesn't mean that you're just making a few cents out of your products. But can you allow like individuals to buy just one item, two items from your site, and then ship the products directly to them? Now, I have a question for you. What if you can gain more margins from your products? What if you can get retailers, the one that usually takes 6 months to a year to finally purchase, to chase you, ask you to please put your products in my store instead of following them for years until something happened? What if you can diversify different revenue channels and sell to the US 10, 20 years? And especially during this time with an economic downturn where, like if you have one or two B2B buyers, if one of them stop buying from you, then your business is done, right? So what if we can diversify different revenues? What if we can test and validate the US market cheaply before committing into more investment, before, spending more time and resources on it? And what if you can launch in multiple markets around the world at the same time? If you want this, please type if into the chat box. I would love to know if you would love to have this for your business. Thank you so much. Well, if you want this, then my suggestion for you is to use a strategy called online plus offline, or O plus O. And that is where we combine both strategy earlier to make a full funnel for you. This is how it's worked. You will set up your website, list your products up there, and let people start ordering it from your website. Simultaneously, at the same time, you will start finding buyers, potential buyers that will buy it in bulk. Now, because you already know how to ship it like in small quantity, you may have some stock in the US ready. You maybe have your products in Amazon ready to distribute. So if one of these wholesalers asking for samples, then you can send directly those samples from your retail warehouse or retail system. And why is this important? Because these wholesaler and distributors, when they ask for products, usually they're expecting 30 to 45 days to get the samples. If you can beat all the competitors, ship it in 2 days, ship it in 7 days. That means that you already gain an impressions with these distributors and retailers. Now, as you continue your negotiation with the buyers, the wholesaler buyers, you will continue to sell online. You continue to service the consumer as well. And then, because you have data proving what products are selling fast in the US, you can showcase these data to your dream retailers, your potential buyers, so that they have the trust that if I import your product, I can guarantee to make my return. And by having all these in place, you will able to secure the US market for a lifetime, guaranteed. Now, to conclude or show you how this done in real time, I'm going to share a study case of one company that has done this successfully that you may already know. All right.
Business sold out in 2 seconds with zero retail presence. In 2014, Xiaomi, a consumer electronics company, started international expansion with Singapore and India. Their first batch of 10,000 mobile phones sold out in 2 seconds in India with zero retail store presence and have 500,000 people on the wait list. Only 3 years later, in 2017, when they're already selling 100,000 phones per week, they opened their first outlet store. Launched with local e-commerce store, they were able to skip the distributors, go directly to consumer before retailers truly believe in them. Their first retail outlet store was put in the basements because retailer didn't believe that anybody gonna show up. Well, they end up with 10,000 people show up on the opening day. Using the slow and small strategy, as they call it, Xiaomi was able to test as many markets as possible before committing to big retail investment. Within 3 years, they launched in 70 different countries and became the #1 mobile phone brands in India. There are many routes to achieve your international expansion dream, and one thing Xiaomi has proven to us is international expansion can be as fast and efficient as a good website and a community of raving fans.
Yep. So that's the story of Xiaomi. A lot of you may already know this is the #1 mobile phone brand in India, but a lot of you might not know how they kickstarted, right? Um, when they first start the international expansion, they did not go to retail first. Or any of the like telecom company to partner with, but what they did was partner with Flipkart to release promotional deal, flash deal, and let people buy the products through online channels. They did this for 3 years, having flying number before going to retails. And until then, retailers still didn't believe in them, right? They still put their store in the basement because they think that, well, your success online may not be the success offline. But Xiaomi has proven them wrong by having 10,000 people going at the opening day. And now, so Xiaomi is the #1 mobile phone brand in India. But one thing to also note, because they use this online plus offline strategy, within the first 3 years when they start their international expansion, not only they expanded to India, they expanded to 70 countries around the world at the same time. So that is why online strategy plus offline strategy is crucial so that you can grow fast, you test as many market as possible, and then you invest in committing to markets that are showing real tractions. And that story conclude my sharing session today. One key session I would love for you to take from today is that have the right strategy in place is the key to export success. I hope from today's session you've seen a overall views of the US opportunities and what are the potential strategy out there for you. I have a gift for the community today, for everyone that participate and hearing to the end of the sessions. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to consider US market or any other market, you have to consider 4 factors to make it to consider if it's the right one for you. So this is my scoring card. It's called 4-step market finder, so that you can score and analyze as many potential markets that you are eyeing on based on these 4 factors. So feel free to screenshot this or copy or type this in your browser. I can send it later to Vero to send it to the group as well. Yeah, and so that is all for my sharing today. Thank you very much for listening, and back to you, Vero.
Thank you very much, Tam. It was really nice presentation, and we have got a lot of insights. So now the session is open for the question and answers. So if anybody would like to know something or would like to have some more in-depth knowledge or key insights for the given topics, so the session is open for question and answer. So if anybody is interested to know more about your product, to know more about market or online strategy or the offline strategy, right? So it is a really wonderful thing, Tam. What you have shared right now is because nowadays there are lots of products which can be marketed online as well, and you can create that presence. And sometimes as you have told is which is perfectly all right that most of the people or retailers, wholesalers, importers, they come to know from the different e-commerce platform, and they know your product, and then they are ordering a big quantity from you. So that is a really great thing. So is there any questions from any participants, or I do have lots of questions on behalf of all the participants. So if anybody is not having, so I can start the things also. Okay, so there is right. Okay, so there is a question from someone that are snacks ready to cook Indian foods, staples, etc. also high barrier? So it is not a high barrier product, but you will need US FDA registration and label compliant. Tam, if you would like to answer in like in a brief or something, you can unmute
Sure.
yourself and please, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So for snack products or food, any food that are not supplements or alcohol or meat, like as I mentioned, then what we need is US FDA registration. And you also, if it's a packaged food and not like selling in bulk like rice, for example, then you will also need to make sure that all the advertisement and nutrition facts on your product is compliant with the US FDA standard. So for food products that go into the US, usually it takes about 10 days to be compliant with to register and start exporting to the US from our experience. And you might ask, oh, if it's just 10 days, then how are they going to make sure the product is high quality, etc.? Then the answer is that the US FDA will actually do 2 rounds of inspection. One is that when you import your product into the port in the US, they will have a random check inspection to test your samples or check on the label if it's compliant or not. And number 2 is they will every year they will send inspectors to different country to inspect the facilities. So that usually happen when you're already exporting about 2 to 3 years. And they will give you about 6 month notice to prepare for the inspections. And on those inspections, as we have helped a lot of companies to get ready for that, they will expect you to prepare all documents in English, all the food safety processing, all the certification, all the informations of US shipments in English, as well as they will inspect the facility on the ground for any food safety hazard.
Great, great. I just want to expand this question. Like, if someone is very much clear that, as you have already told, that we need to take care enough for the labelings, for the marketing, and for the every simple instructions, which is very much important on the food packet or the packaging.
Yeah.
So how the person can be very much assured, how they can get in detail information that this should be the labeling. It available from the buyer side, or we can confirm from any government website of US? How we are going to be assured that what information or exactly the packet labeling should be?
Yeah. Thank you. Very good question. So usually, so all these informations are available online on the US FDA website for you to see. But
Okay.
what I would recommend is that you can work with a US FDA like specialist, like G.O.L or like any other specialist. The reason being is that um, there's a lot of the requirements that are that goes down to the level details of like your nutritions, values, etc. And you might miss those informations if you do it by yourself. So
Okay.
engaging with someone who is a specialist in it is better and faster for you. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So the second question is from Nirav, and he's asking that which product are hit to export to Vietnam. So he's asking that for the Vietnam. So if you would like
Oh.
to, yeah, to export to Vietnam, what are the products that are high? You can say the potential.
Ah, um, very good questions. I think that we'll have to probably do another sessions on what are the rising one,
Yeah.
or like you can easily look up on what are the most import products from Vietnam. But I would say for Vietnam right now, there are significant high companies that we help with also going in through the online marketplace channels. Reason being is Vietnam has a 80% population internet users. That means that we are, we're very technology savvy, and we also love online shopping. Like we have Shopee, we have Lazada, and we have TikTok Shop, which is now the number 2 platform in Vietnam. And for all the market around the world for TikTok, Vietnam is number 2 at the moment. Yeah. So like, like if your product is something consumer facing, good for consumer, then definitely consider TikTok, Shopee as one of the channels to go into Vietnam.
So how there is one more question into this, and overall also that you have said that TikTok Shop is a very good platform in the US as well, or all around the world.
Mm.
But while being into India, is it possible that we can register on a TikTok Shop either in US or either in Vietnam? Is it possible to sell the product over there?
Yes, correct. You can. So there are a service called, so for each of the TikTok locally, what the local requirements for TikTok to also for you to sell to Vietnam, Malaysia, or like US is that you need a local entity to register. So
Okay.
now, so there are services out there. It's called merchant on record, where
Mm.
basically a local entity will lease you the entity to register on TikTok. So these kind of service is available to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So
So
so you
so
so yeah.
basically, yeah, sorry. So basically, we are going to ship the product in a bulk over there in the US to that merchant, and then it will be shipped to the consumers.
Correct. Yes, that's the kind of like the simple way to do that.
Okay.
You can ship it in bulk, like let's say 1,000 items to
Mm.
Vietnam or the US, and then when there's an order, then the warehouse can easily, ship it to
Okay.
the direct consumer.
Okay.
But however, depends on if you want to get the duty-free policies. So if you want to be eligible for duty-free policy, then you cannot ship in bulk.
Okay.
So you cannot ship 1,000 items
Mm.
pre-sold that hasn't been sold yet, but you can
Yeah.
ship 1,000 item that's already been sold. That
Okay.
means there are already 1,000 people who purchased the order, and you combine them and ship them all together. Then those 1,000 sold items are eligible for duty free.
Okay. But
But
the
if it
price, but the price in total is more than 800 USD. Still, it is duty free
so 1,000, but
product. Yeah.
so
Total.
the 1,000 sold products, they will consider on each of the orders value. So
Okay.
1,000 order, but if it's just $50 per orders, then
Okay.
they base off that $50 value.
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay, so there, we are having one more question from Pranav, and that is, what strategy is better for ready-made garments, ready-made apparels?
Mm,
Is it it's a for specifically for US? So
mm.
for ready-made garments, either he should have to go for B2B or it's a B2C is advisable.
Yeah. So I've actually just spoke to someone that like an Indian apparel company going to the US, and I would say um if you have the ability to build up a brand on your own, I would say B2C is a better route, simply
Okay.
because you know, you can leverage all the social media platform and start getting sales like from the beginning. B2B, as I mentioned, it takes long cycle, 6 to 1 year, 6 to 1 years to get that done. And usually I've seen apparel companies need a person in the US to build these connections, right? If you cannot go to trade show, if you don't really can't go there often, then you might have to employ someone in the US to, you know, do all these networking and relationship building for you. So so if your company can do B2C, you have the capacity to do that. You have the capacity to do print on demand, right? You know, allow people to customize the products, and that's
Mm.
also a good channel.
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. There is the same question for diamond jewelry, diamonds or diamond jewelry. That is B2C or B2B from Darshit. The question is from Darshit. Uh, what would be the ideal strategy for diamond jewelry or diamonds, B2C or B2B?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah. So there is a question from Darshit that
Mhm.
what would be the best strategy for diamond jewelry or diamonds,
Ah,
B2C or B2B?
good questions. Good questions. I think for diamond, I think the easy way to answer is that you have to test it out. Right? Because only you know your product best and what are their value propositions. So I think these two options, there's one of them that's so easy to test it out immediately, right? Like you can easily
Mm.
set up your website and run target ad to the US for like a month and see how that works. So if your product is diamond jewelry, I would consider try that and see how that go. If that channel is valid and you can keep going on that, or if it doesn't has that you, then maybe you can study why is that like too high value, or is there anything that you need to build that trust.
Right. So,
A lot of jewelries are able to sell in the US, but high value jewelry, you have to consider if the consumer are willing to pay thousands of dollars to an online website, right?
mm.
Like, how do you build trust?
So diamond and diamonds jewelry is basically a very high value product, and most of the time, see, if I want to make any jewelry for myself or for my any family member, we approach jewelers. Not we are going to buy diamonds separately and then we'll take to the jewelers and then we are going to make a jewelry. It's not normal trend. Either it's in US or anywhere. So most of the time, diamonds and diamonds jewelry can be a B2B more, I think, because we need to approach jewelers to sell my jewelry or diamonds to the consumers. So it's a high-end product. So probably I think B2B will be more workable in that case.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is one question from Prerna that white labeling, how does the FDA certifications work? How are the inspections concluded? And okay, so it's a long question. So what does it cost to get the license, and is there a repetitive yearly cost? What's the best way to find distributors who supply to Indian retail stores in the FMCG sector in the USA and the UAE?
Mm. Okay, I think so. UAE, I'm not very particular familiar with the market, so I cannot answer that for you. But for the US specifically for white labeling, if you're a food products or you're creating a food product or cosmetic products or supplements, you will need FDA, and that means that if you're labeling, both you and as the manufacturers and the brand owner will need your own FDA registrations. For inspections, they only inspect specifically on food. So if you do if you do cosmetic, they don't really inspect that. But they will inspect if your product is food. They will let you know about 6 months ahead when they going to pay a visit. And that within that 6 months, you can start, prepare, right? You prepare your paperwork, you review your facility plan and see like, is there any like food hazard? So one example, when we went with the FDA to a seafood facility, is that they have a gap between their door, the entrance door between the facility and outside. And that means that, rats can run into the facility. So those kind of like risks, usually they will base up on HACCP or GMP, depends on what kind of products you have, or ISO. So usually you will base off the food hazard, and you analyze, are there any risks within your facility? And so once the inspection happen, usually there will be three kind of result. One is good, nothing else, and that's good to go. They'll come back in 2 to 3 years to inspect you. Number two is medium result, right? There are certain minor adjustment you need to do, and they usually give you about 90 days to 3 months to fix it, and then you report back to them when you fix it. And then the last one is critical, like very bad result, like a lot of food safety hazard. Then they will require you to, they will shorten the time that you get to fix it. Sometimes 15 days, 30 days only to fix it. And they will require you to let them inspect again the second time. And the first inspection is free. You don't have to pay anything to the FDA. All you need to do is, let them know which hotel is closest to your facility. If you need someone to translate in English, then you might have to pay that to communicate with them. But other than that, you don't really have anything. Do not give them anything. In terms of gift, this is real, because we try, because like one of our clients was like, oh, can we give you things, right? And then there's I think $50 or $100 threshold. Like if you give your product sample, something like that, that's fine, but don't give anything to premium. They're not allowed to take those. Okay. And then yeah, so and then, but on the second inspection, if they require you to do the second inspection, you will have to pay, right? And that is costs around $300 per hour.
Okay.
Yeah. And usually they inspect you for 2 to 3 days. So
Right.
that's give you the size of the budget. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously in this case, I think the manufacturer side or the that premise only will be inspected, right? Because merchant exporter doesn't have anything in his office.
Yes, correct. So if you are an exporter and you are working with a manufacturers, then when the inspection happen, you need to coordinate with them
Okay.
to work and to support you on the inspection. And one good way for you to, like convince them to support this is that getting inspection is scary, but it's also a matter of quality if you pass it, right? So that is the chance for you to, get photos with, get like showcase that your product has passed an FDA inspection. A lot of companies around the world get US FDA registration because they are very strict with the quality, and that's like a stamp of approval if you pass inspection. So, sometimes I've seen that exporter working manufacturers, and then the facility was like, we don't really want to do the inspection. Why do we have to do it? Then this is how you convince them.
Okay. So basically, if we see, as you have said, that manufacturer, exporter, and the importer, all these three people, they have to be registered with the US FDA, right?
Correct.
So on which basis the merchant exporter will be registered? And I mean, what are the criteria or what are the paperwork they would like to have from exporter?
Mm. You mean like in terms of the buyers that asking for the paperwork, etc.
No, exporter, when they are going to apply for the FDA,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm.
how they are going to get this FDA for that firm specifically who is the merchant exporter? So they are basically getting the products from manufacturer.
Mm.
They don't produce anything by their own.
Yeah.
So FDA, how they will, evaluate the quality or the genuinity, authenticity from the exporter.
Ah, very good question. So for for exporter that don't have the facility, so in the registration application, you will able to indicate if you're what kind of handling you deal with food, right? Are you a manufacturer? Are you a packer? Are you a store? Are you just storing, warehousing, etc.? So different role of the food supply chain, you can indicate
Mm.
specifically what role are you in there. And if you don't have a facility, then the one other way that the FDA inspect is that when you import, right?
Okay.
When the cargo goes in, they will usually put it in through a scanner, an X-ray scanner, to
Mm.
find anything suspicious, and then they also can do random sample checks. Um,
Okay.
so that's how they ensure the quality.
Okay. And what if we are having a multiple suppliers, multiple manufacturers? If we are getting the products from two or three manufacturers, and we are combining the cargo, or you
Mm.
can say it's a like repack, not the exactly repack, but we are sourcing from two manufacturers and then we are exporting all together in a one container. So those both of the manufacturers would have to be registered with the FDA.
Yes. You have, if those two are two completely different products, then you will need to
Mm.
do that.
Mm.
Um, you also, as an exporter, you will need to have a supplier verifications process where what are the quality you demand from the manufacturers, what are the standard they must have in order for you to purchase from them. And another way for you to prove the quality is that when FDA requests for these like supplier verifications paperwork, you can showcase that you have conduct process to make sure that the product is in good quality.
Okay, great. So, first thing first, that means the manufacturer and merchant and importer, they have to get registered with the US FDA. Then they will ship the product, and at a time of arrival, also the custom will check it out that if everything is in order, or they are having a registration, they are having a proper labeling, the logo is on the packaging and everything, right?
Correct.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
fine. So almost, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh, I see another question I think I missed is that how much does it cost for FDA?
yeah.
And is there any repetitive yearly cost? So to get FDA registration, is you will need to have a US representative in your application. It could be a US buyers, or it could be a third party representative like G.O.L. We do offer that. And basically, the US representative role is to help you engage with the US FDA if there's any like inspections or any questions in terms of the food quality, etc. Because the US FDA do prefer to have a like a local communication point, so that if there's anything happen, someone can contact. Um, there is a yearly cost for the US representative, usually if you use a third party like us, or if you are working with buyers, usually depends on how you deal with it, but usually they would ask for uh exclusive, exclusive deals for them to be your representative on US. The US certification or registration is valid for 2 years. So every 2 years, you will need to renew it.
Okay.
Yeah,
As you have said about the Walmart marketplace, so any merchant also, any who is not the manufacturer, those kind of exporters also can register on the Walmart marketplace.
correct. Yes. There's no limitations on if you are manufacturers or an exporter. Mhm.
Okay, okay. And just the last question, and then we can conclude the session. So, as per your experience, as you have dealt with a lot of US people or different exporters from the various countries, so what is the mentality of the US importers? I mean, when it comes to negotiation, when it comes to buying the product, when it comes to payment terms, what is the overall mentality of US importers?
Very good questions. I was reviewing one of the U.S. importer data recently, and the two main terms that we prefer is CIF and FOB.
Okay,
With CAF is about like 60% and FOB is about 40%. So
hmm.
that's what they usually prefer in terms of payment, in terms of the Incoterm payment
Incoterm.
terms.
Yeah,
Um, in terms of the buying behavior, I would say it's quite varies, depends on which ethnicity are you dealing with. Are you dealing with a distributor or wholesalers? But usually when it comes to US buyers, one thing to expect is that they usually expect a big volume, right? If they are the one that are, supplying to Walmart or all the big retailer, that means that you need to meet their production capacity, their requirements in order to seal the deal with them. But if there are, like smaller, like Indian mart or like Vietnamese mart, etc., there, usually, of course, these mart they import directly themselves as well, but they will, that's an easy way for you to get in because they will require a smaller amount of quantity. Yeah,
okay.
I hope that
Yep.
helps.
Yeah, great. Okay, so there is a one last question from the participant that how we can find distributors who are supplying to Indian retail stores or in FMCG sectors in USA. Is there
Hmm.
any channel? Is there any website? Is there any way to get the to find those distributors who are supplying to chain stores?
That's very good questions. I think the best way to find these data online is LinkedIn, or there's a tool that I use. It's called snuff.io, right? So basically these tools,
Snob.io.
yeah, so these are like a email database, like B2B marketing lead tools. And basically what they do is that they scrape the internet and find social profiles of people in different company roles and different companies. And you can kind of source, you can filter to search for people who are in the distributor wholesaler channels. You can search direct which people are working for Indian Mart in the US. You can reach out to them through LinkedIn, build that connections, and research more from there.
Wow, great. So I think it was a wonderful session, Tam, and the great insights you have shared. And obviously, every participant are delighted. Okay, so there is a thank you message as well from Prerna.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Viral sir and Tam, for making time and the valuable insights. Thank you, Prerna, and thank you everyone for being there to make this event successful. And we always there. We are going to come up with some more sessions as well for different markets, for the different licenses, strategies. As we came to know from the session that Tammy's expertise and they are playing a role, very good role to get you the US FDA or the different European license as well. There was one post from her that if you are exporting any consignment to Europe, you have to get registered before shipping the consignment, right? So there are a lot of processes that you need to understand before sending any consignments to any part of the world. But before shipping, you have to be very much clear about the roadmap. What are the registrations are required? What are the documentations are required? So these kind of the expertise can help you out with all kind of the procedures. So I will request everyone, and we are going to share both of the details. So I will share the time details as well with you, everyone, and accordingly, you can be directly in touch with her. And whatever the queries, whatever the things you would like to know, or if you would like to have any kind of support from her, you can directly approach to Tam as well. Okay. So thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, and
Thank you so much,
thank you, Tam,
everyone.
once again for sparing a wonderful time, your valuable time with us. and giving good insights from the market to our participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of your week.
Yeah, thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you. Bye bye, everyone. So we are ending the session here with thank you. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye.